Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith. If you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. All right, so big fight coming up here at 168 pounds, Canelo Alvarez versus Callum Smith. Now personally, I'm always excited anytime Canelo fights. One, because I really like watching him, really like his style, really enjoy him as a fighter, but also because anytime he's fighting, it's always going to be big for the division. He's been fighting the elite of the elite fighters at the very top for a lot of years now, and he continues to do that. Doesn't really take any easy fights. Last time we saw him, he received a lot of criticism, and rightly so, when he fought Amir Khan, but it's been a long time since that's happened. Now, that actually brings up an interesting point about this fight. One of the things that I was noticing in the build-up to this fight is there's a lot of people who are completely underestimating Callum Smith. They're out there, they're saying Canelo's cherry picking. They're saying that this is going to be an easy fight. He's going to run through him. You know, to a certain extent, I get why some people would say that. The thing is, for a long time now, we've always said that if you want to make it, if you want to be big, if you want to be at the absolute peak of the sport, you've got to come over to America and fight. Now, you look at a guy like Callum Smith, he's only come over to America and fought one time. Fought in New York, Hassan Nadam. And it's not his last fight, but his one before that. That's the only time he's come over here. And that wasn't even the main event. He was on the undercard. So a lot of people don't know him. They don't realize how good of a fighter he is, right? Then you look at the line. Canelo opened up at like minus 455. Now he's up to probably like minus, I think, 590. We're a few days before the fight at this point. So it's easy to see that a lot of people are underestimating him. But allow me to say, Callum Smith is a very good fighter. That man knows how to fight. Okay? Very tall, very long for the division. And he fights that way as well. When you look at him, as soon as you start to break down the film on him, you see right away he is a classic fighter. I would even go so far as to say he's classic in a European type way, in a European style. He stands tall and he fights long. He's 6'3", 78-inch reach. That's huge for 168 pounds. He gets out there, he works that jab well. It's like and he shoots that thing out like a go-go gadget arm. The way he gets that jab out there and uses it to control distance. Shoots very good straight right hands. Man, he's poised. He's patient. I like the way he comes forward, applies pressure on guys. You know, but he doesn't do it in a way that's very active. But he's also applying pressure in a way that makes them work. It doesn't allow him to get in their rhythm. Doesn't allow him to get really smooth. You know, throws a good right hand. Really, really good check left hook. I love the way he uses that counter left hook off a guy's right hand. Off of a guy's right hand. The biggest two examples I can think of, George Groves, hurt him big with that left hook, and Hassan, hurt him big with that left hook, put him down. I mean, those were beautiful shots. Timing on it was good, the speed, the way it just came out of nowhere. I mean, it's tough to deal with a shot like that. All that being said, the man's not a perfect fighter. He's got some flaws too. He's got some things that are there for Canelo to expose, right? And really, I think about it on the defensive end. Now, I just mentioned that he's tall and that he's long, and he uses that great when he's fighting offensively. But I don't think he uses his height well defensively. His reach doesn't come into play at all. And what I mean by that is he lets a lot of shorter guys get off with their jabs. He lets a lot of shorter guys get inside it, and he'll just cover up and take some shots. You know, he's got some great counterpunching, but he uses it at distance and at mid-range. And defensively, I think he's got some issues there. I think he's got some ways that he can be exploited. Guys can get inside of him. It's not as difficult to do that as you see with a lot of other fighters who have a significant reach advantage. The other thing, I don't think he uses a lot of good head movement. I don't think he uses feints. He's not very deceptive. Doesn't work angles well. You know, I heard this saying a long time ago, an honest fighter. And that's what I think of when I think of Callum Smith. He's an honest fighter. And what I mean by that is he's not setting any traps. He's not being very deceitful in the way that he does things. You don't have much to worry about. You know what you're going to get when you fight him. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's an above-average fighter. I'm not using that in a disparaging sense. He is very good, above-average power, all of those things. But he's going to be right in front of you. He's not going to be working angles. He doesn't, change up speed on his shots. He doesn't do different things to try to set stuff up. That's not really his game. What he's done is work great for him. But is he going to be able to be at the elite of the elite doing what he does? I mean, that's what we're going to find out in this fight, right? Big step up with him fighting Canelo. So let's talk about Canelo. Let's look at him. Now, I could go on all day about Canelo. I'm a huge fan of his, but I try not to be biased when I say things. So, keep that in mind when I say this. I think Canelo does everything great. I mean, he really does. You look at him, he can lead, he can counter, he can box in the middle of the ring. You can back him up and he can fight with his back up against the ropes. He can apply pressure and walk a guy down. He can kind of keep his hands in his pocket a little bit and then be explosive. Good right hand, goes to the body well. Great head movement. Really good footwork, but doesn't waste his movement. I mean, he does everything at a very, very high level. There's a reason he's as good as he is. There's a reason he's been able to move up in weight and still be dominant, taking on guys like Kovalev. I could break down all day all kinds of the nuances that he does. As a matter of fact, I just recently made a video highlighting, Canelo's counterpunching. Please check it out. It was an awesome video. I enjoyed making it. So I'm not really going to use this time just to start to break down and highlight all of the things that he does well. Instead, I'm just going to jump right into the fight, and I'm going to highlight some of the things that I think are really going to come into play with this one. So the question is, Saturday night, what is it going to look like when they step in there? I think this one opens up exactly like a lot of people would expect. You've got Callum Smith as a much taller, longer fighter. He's going to come out there and he's going to attempt to work that jab. Now, he's not going to be overly active with it. It doesn't really need to be, but he's going to use it to try to set the range. He likes to come forward, likes to be aggressive. But like I said, he's patient, he's poised. He's not going to get too far over that lead leg. He's not going to, he's not going to lead with his face. He's not going to get off balance. He's not going to present easy counterpunching targets for Canelo. All right, so he's just going to come out there and he's going to try to work that jab. And if he was able to set up that jab and if he's able to work it and control distance with it and everything, it'd be a long night for Canelo, right? That's what he's going to try to do. Get the jab going and then work the straight right hand behind it. On the flip side to that, we know right away that Canelo's going to try to take that jab away. He always tries to take away his opponent's jab, right? Since you start as a child in a boxing gym, they teach you to work everything off of your jab. Get a good jab and then build off your jab. So when fighters do that, they really need that jab to kind of get things going. And if you can take that jab away, man, it tears apart their game. And I believe that that's the first thing Canelo's going to do in this one. He's going to take away Callum Smith's jab. And once he does, it's going to really hinder the offense that Smith has. Now, how he does it, he's going to do it a few different ways. He's going to counterpunch it with, using a pull hook with the right hand upstairs. He's probably going to go directly to the body. He's going to slip to the side of it and come inside and, shoot a left hook to the body. He's going to catch it and then counter with his own jab. So he's going to do it a few different ways, but he's going to take that jab away. He's going to do it, and it's not going to take him too long to do it before Callum Smith stops working that jab so much. The next layer of that is going to be that left hook. Callum Smith has a beautiful counter left hook. And if Canelo is going to be able to see any success with his right hand, if he's going to be able to come in and get his left hook off at all, he's going to need to be able to stifle that counter left hook that Callum Smith has. There's a couple ways to do that, right? So first, one of the things that I noticed is he could come forward and do it. Canelo likes to come forward. He likes to apply pressure. He's not overly aggressive with it, but he's going to be able to walk forward. He's going to want to be able to get inside, get in range. And if he does that, it's going to be easier for him to get that right hand off. Because Callum Smith loves shooting that counter left hook, but he does it at distance or kind of at middle range when guys are coming in. You think about how he used it against George Groves. You think about how he used it against Hassan. Perfect examples. So Canelo doesn't want to be on the outside. He doesn't want to try to, for example, come over the top of Smith's jab and then leave himself open for that counter left hook. I think if he walks forward a little bit more, gets in a little bit tighter, particularly if he's got Smith up against the ropes, that's when it's going to look great. Smith, a lot of times he keeps that high guard, right? It's that textbook style, keeps his hands high, keeps his elbows in. And if you get in close on him and you start to get off, he'll go into a little bit of a shell and he'll let you shoot some shots. Right, and he's not going to be so quick with that left hook, and even if he does shoot it, he's not going to be able to get that same kind of leverage and timing on it. So that's one way that Canelo can, kind of handle that left hook a little bit more. And the other way, which is a little bit trickier, but Canelo's got the skill set for it. He does it all day long. Is getting Smith to shoot that left hook when you want. Part of the thing that makes it so good, and part of the thing that makes it such a devastating punch, is that it's fast, it's crisp, it comes out of nowhere. It's the punch that you don't see coming. Those are ones that always hurt you the most. So instead of Smith being able to shoot that left hook when he wants, Canelo needs to be able to get Smith to shoot it when he wants to shoot it, when Canelo wants him to throw it. If you know when your opponent's going to throw that shot, it's way easier to deal with. Probably sounds kind of crazy to a lot of people. What do you mean when you say get him to throw it when you want to throw it? And that all comes down to setting traps. It all comes down to showing Smith looks that make him want to throw that left hook. For example, he likes to throw it off the right hand. So maybe Canelo cuts one of Smith's jab short, catches it, feints as though he's going to throw the right hand right up until he sees Smith start to shoot that left hook. As soon as he sees him start to shoot that left hook is when he can counter the counter, right? That's when he can either, step into it, block it with his right hand and shoot his own counter hook. He can roll and get underneath it and try and shoot a right hand. There's a few different ways that he would be able to counter it at that point. But the key is going to be able to get Smith to throw that left hook when he wants to throw it, when Canelo wants him to throw it, versus Smith being the one dictating. It's storylines and nuances to the fight. But if he can take away that jab, he's going to stifle Smith's offense. And if he can take away that counter left hook, he's really going to hinder his ability to counter what Canelo wants to do. And I think he's going to be able to do those things. I'm going with Canelo in this fight. I think Smith is a little bit too much a vanilla of a fighter, so to speak. I don't think he's got enough of the nuance and enough of the tricks to his game to really be able to, give Canelo the trouble. I mean, Canelo, I don't even think that Smith will be the most difficult fighter that Canelo has faced. As good as he is, and I'm not taking anything from him, he is a very good fighter. He's not going to be the best one that Canelo's faced. On the flip side of that, I think Canelo is by far going to be the best and the most dangerous opponent that Callum Smith has faced. Wouldn't even surprise me if Canelo was able to come out of this one with a late stoppage, works the body early, gets inside, does some real damage. Who knows? 10th round, 11th round. Either way, even if it's by decision, going with Canelo this one all day long. Let me know what you guys think. Is he going to come out and is he really going to shine in this one? Or is Callum Smith going to be able to give him some troubles? Is that height and that reach going to present some issues for him? Let me know.